Hi soulmates, you're welcome back to class. So today we are going to be doing the sewing tutorial of this beautiful conical cupped corset, and this was the final result of our corset, and the bust is already caged. Please note that this is the sewing tutorial of the pattern drafting that we have already done. So guys, if you would like to learn how to make this beautiful corset, then you need to stay tuned if you want to know how we achieved this masterpiece. So from our previous pattern drafting class, we got to the point where we were already cutting on our fabric. So from there, I went ahead to cut on my fabric. I've cut my fabric and my linings and all of that. I will advise that if you have not watched the pattern drafting, you have to see it before seeing this video so that you do not get confused. It's just the video before this one. Then I've also drafted my yoke. You can see the front yoke that I drafted. I didn't just cut it exactly the way it is on the yoke. I cut it in a straight form so that I can be able to place it on top of my client when she's wearing the corset and just take out what I have. You can see that I didn't cut it down there. So guys, my name is Tekla and you are welcome back to my channel. So in this channel we share tutorials on everything about sewing and tailoring. So in the pattern drafting, I promise that I'm going to be showing you guys how you can dart your bra cups for people that do not know how to dart their bra cup. So how I did it is that I just folded my bra cup into two the way you just saw me do. Then I measured about 1/2 inch on the tip of the bra cup, and then I marked it, and I measured about 2 inches down. You can do 2.5, but the bust I'm working with is just 38, and for this 38 I was working with a bra cup of 40 though. So because the bra cup and I think, should I say, African bust doesn't go together, so you always need a bigger bra cup for any size of bust that you're working with. So I just connected from that 1/2 inch to the tip, and then I went to my sewing machine and I sewed that down, and you can see what it looks like. So this is how I achieved that bra cup that I used to cut out my bra cup area in the pattern drafting. You can see how curved this bra cup is looking. It's looking like a push-up bra cup at this point in time, and I just want it to be like this because that is how I want it to be for me to use it for this corset. So now remember that in that pattern drafting we didn't draft what we are going to use to cover the bra cup. So I'm going to draft that out before we now move to this sewing proper, because you are still going to cover your bra cup before anything. So I just folded my bra cup into two, and then I got my pattern paper. My pattern paper is folded into two as well, so that place that has the closed edge, I just kind of placed the place on my bra cup that came down by 2 inches on that closed edge, and then I took the measurement of the bra cup, and you can see what I have. I will go ahead now and cut that out so that you can see exactly how it looks. And if I cut it out, I am going to now cut it separately, and I'll now use this pattern paper to cut on my fabric so you can see the way it looks. You will see that one side of this bra cup is covered, like the up part is covered. I didn't slit it into two, so just pay attention to what I am cutting. And also know that you can use a push-up bra cup for this. I'm going to cage my bust, so I'm not using a push-up bra cup. And also know that you can still create your own bra cup by yourself if you know how to do that, but for me I just used an already made bra cup that I've had to achieve this. So you can see what I have. That was my center cup and my side cup, and then the up part of my cup. So I'm going to go over to the fabric. Remember that I'm using velvet fabric to make this tutorial because that is what I want to use. You can use any fabric of your choice. You can do skin, illusion net, you can do corset mesh, you can do any fabric. Remember that the fabric they use for that one on the thumbnail is, I think, is crepe that they used. So To cut out this bra cup on my fabric, I'm going to give about 3/4 of an inch on the up part of my bra cup and also on the side. The reason why I'm doing this is because of the method or the manner in which we are going to join this bra cup to our corset. So if you notice, you will see that I gave allowance at the top more than I did at the down. I also gave more allowance at the sides. Just see the way I'm cutting this thing. So the side, and also make sure that you know where is the side. So you can see that at the up part of my side cup, I just added about 1/2 inch that we used to join it. But then on the side, I gave up to 3/4 of an inch. You can see the way it's looking. The reason why I am doing this is because the manner in which we are going to join this bra cup is going to require that extra allowance. I would have said let me add just 1/2 inch, but it's not going to do. Do you understand? So that is why I added that extra allowance. Please do not forget it. And you can see the way I placed it so that I do not misplace anything. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and join it. That fabric that I cut it out on is four pieces. I also want to use the main fabric as my lining as well. So I just cut each one 4 pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and join all of them. I joined the center cup and the side cup. Then I'll now join the up part of it to it. So I just notched the middle and then I joined it. So once I am going to do that to the 4 of them. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have 4 bra cup covers. 2 is going to serve as my lining and 2 is going to serve as my main cover. So you can decide to use your lining to cut the main cover, but for me, I just wanted to use my velvet fabric as well. So you can see that at this point, I have 4 of them. So on my lining, I'm going to go over and please, you can see that my lining, I also ironed tissue gum to it. So now I'm going to iron this thickest paper gum to my lining now. I have already done that. So you can see that our lining has structure. This gum helps to give it structure. You can use peplum state to do this. You can use Steve neck. Any thick gum can do this thing. So now that I have done that, I'm going to introduce back my pattern paper. So this is for you to know that please do not throw away your pattern paper. And I'm going to carve out how I want my conical shape to be. You can see the way I am placing my ruler. Sorry, the end part was not showing, but I believe you understand what I'm doing. You can see the way I'm placing it. This is just me trying to determine how I want that conical part, the shape I want it to take. Do you understand? So you can see what I did on my pattern paper. And I went out to cut that out on my pattern paper alone. You can see what we have. On my pattern paper alone, I didn't cut it on my lining. So now that I have that, I am going to go ahead and introduce my thick pad. Remember that I showed you all the materials I will be needing for this when we were doing the pattern drafting, and thick pad was there. So this thick pad, we are going to use it to achieve that conical corset by the side. The thick pad is just that pad that you used to sew your bustier with, but I'm going to use it to achieve that conical corset by the side. So I just went ahead to cut it on my pad, and then you can see that I am not adding any extra allowance to that thick pad. So do not make the mistake of adding extra allowance to it, because it's going to affect your corset. So I just went ahead to cut that into 4 pieces. 2 is going to be for the 2 sides of the front, and 2 is going to be for the 2 sides of the back. So remember that our conical shape is also at the back, of course. So you can see the way I'm placing it on the side of my front pattern and of my front lining. Please note that I'm doing this on the lining, not on the main fabric. I am doing mine on the lining, not on the main fabric. You can still decide to do this on the main fabric, but the reason why I don't like doing it on the main fabric is sometimes if you are not careful, it comes out tattered. So I just prefer to use the main fabric to like turn my lining at the end of the day. So all these things that I am ironing down now, I am ironing it on my lining, please. I am not ironing it on my main fabric. So you can see the way I am placing the pads by the sides of my lining. And remember that I also ironed thick gum to this lining. The first thing I ironed was my tissue stay or air stay, just to make the lining to relax. And then I ironed thick gum, and then I'm now putting this thick paper, thick bustier pad. So what that means is that this is the third thing I'm ironing to this thing now. So at this point I've already ironed it down, and I am going to use my tissue stay or air stay, depending on whichever one you choose to use, to cover this thing that I have ironed down. I'm going to iron tissue stay again to it, which is like the fourth layer of gum that I am ironing now. So the first thing I ironed was tissue stay, then paper gum, then pad gum, and then tissue stay again, just to make sure the gum is well relaxed in and all of that. So you can see what I have after ironing the tissue gum. So now we are going to proceed on how we are going to bone this corset. I just got the center of my pattern paper. So you are going to bone this corset how you choose to be, how you want it to be, but just watch what I'm doing in case you want to derive inspiration from this. So I went ahead to draw out my first boning line. So this bone is going to have like a triangular front, like just the way it in the thumbnail. You can see how I cut out, how I drafted the first one, and then how I marked the first one, and then you can see how I marked the side. So I'm going to now go ahead and measure out all my boning channels on the lining. Please do not forget that I'm doing this on the lining, and also know that you can also do it on the main fabric, but for me I want it to be on the lining. So we are going to move over to the sewing machine now, and the first thing we are going to do is that we are going to now go ahead and sew down our bones. And the bone I'll be using for this is my Regilin bone. Remember that I told you guys I'll be using this Regilin bone at the beginning of that pattern paper. So I'm going to use it and sew down on this my lining that I've already added pads. And also take note of how I drew out my channel lines, my bone lines. See the way it is. And I'm going to go ahead now and sew down these bones to it, and I will come back to show. So at this point now, I'm just going to sew down the small part of the bone first. You know that this other line is shorter, so I'm just going to sew on both sides of the bone. And please note that I am leaving allowance on all sides of the tip of that bone, because I'll still be joining my bra cup to this. So I'm leaving allowance on all sides. And one thing you also need to know is that while you are sewing down this bone, your thread will be breaking. So you just have to be patient. To be cotton, you just have to be patient and then do it through. Sometimes for me to sew down one bone, my thread will cut like 5 times or even more. So this is just me urging you to be patient and to pull it through. Don't be in a hurry, because this corset is very nice at the end, but then you have to like be tactful, pay attention, and make sure that everything comes out nice. Always pay attention even to the smallest detail, so that at the end of the day your corset will not develop any error. And then if you're also sewing this plungy neckline, please sew the shorter part first, so that you can use the longer part of the bone to like, you know, cover the end of that small part. So note the way I am placing my bone. Note that I am placing my bone in such a way that I have allowance at the tip, at all sides of the tip. There is no side of that tip, both that V part and the side that I do not have at least 1/4 of an inch of an allowance. So please also place your bone like that, so that you can be able to achieve the best. So I just want to show you how to sew down these two sides, because I noticed that people find it hard to like know how to sew down their bones at this point in time. So guys, just watch what I'm doing and you will understand. And then our online classes is also going. Our illusion corset class is coming up on November, but then you can still register at any time. So just follow the link in our bio on this YouTube, and then you'll get to our WhatsApp, and I will forward you all the details that you need. And then you can also notice that on this bone now, the bone didn't reach the end of my line. You can see I left like half an inch of an allowance at the end. Always leave half an inch allowance so that you have something to like turn it with if there should be need for turning. Don't sew your bone to the end of your fabric, not at the end of the day to now be pointing there, or it will not be choking someone there. So guys, are you enjoying this tutorial? Please give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment in the comment section. We also accept tutorial inspos. If you have anything you're finding it in the difficult to sew, just put it out on the WhatsApp group and I can make a tutorial on it for you and for every other person that wants to learn that. And please, while you're sewing down this bone, please just be patient and all of that. So it's only the center one that I'm going to show you how I did. I am going to also be sewing other ones off camera just to save more time and to speed up this tutorial. Please just be patient while you are sewing this video. So guys, let's ride on. You can see how I've sewed down this bone. This is exactly how you do it. You can see that V shape is already there, and then my small part of my bone is also covered. I don't know whether you can see that very well, but the small part of my bone is covered. And I then went ahead to sew down my bone on all parts that I have marked out. You can see that even close to my side line, I also sew down bone. And on that conical shape, I also have two diagonal bones there. So what I'm going to do now is that I am going to now join the front to the back. I'm going to join the front and the back together. You can see how all my bones are already effective. And remember that I did this on my lining, not on the main fabric. The main fabric I'm using is velvet. I also ironed tissue gum to it, but it is still by the side for now. Let's finish working on the lining. So you can see the way it is. I'm going to go ahead now and join the front and the back together. You can see how our bones are in lines, and also note that on my back pattern I have also sewed down the bones, even though on that left side of the back pattern I sewed down only 2 bones. I think it skipped my mind to add the third bone, like on the center part where I'll have my eyelets, but it won't be a problem at the end. So I just used about half an inch to join my sides together. You can see what I'm doing. I used about half an inch to join it together. And please, if you get to that place that is pointed, or that you snatched the waist, please just be careful how you are sewing it. Don't just rush it out, because if you don't sew it down very well, it's still going to show at the end of the whole thing. Do you understand? It's still going to have effect on it. So you can see the way I have joined it. I will also go ahead and join the other side. So you can see how our corset is. I was just making sure that at that place that the waist is snatched, I have like a very nice curve. If you sew it down the first one and the curve is not okay, please sew it again. Do you understand? So just make sure that it is well curved. Let it not be pointing, because it's going to have effect in your corset. So now that I have done that, also remember that place that has inside where you snatch the waist, you are going to notch it, because if you do not notch it, it's going to rumple from there. So you are going to notch your side allowance. And then I am also going to add bones to that place that I sewed down my side allowance. Do you understand? Because I think the mistake people make is that they do not know that on the side of your corset you add bone there too. So some persons just join it and leave it like that. Please pay attention to see that on the side of your corset you also have bone. This corset is not the corset that you charge little amount of money to pay, because you can even see all the materials that we are using is a whole lot. And then I sewed this corset alone for like 2 days. Both the pattern drafting and the sewing is 2 days, and I'll still have to bead this. And that is by the way. So if you follow us on Instagram at Tekla Tutor, you will also be able to like see this design on our clients when we are done. So guys, you can see how this conical corset is already taking shape. You can see how the side is already giving us that conical shape. Remember that conical is from cone. So yours should be able to bring out that cone-like shape if you got it right. You can see how that one already came out. So now I am going to go ahead and notch that place. See the way I am notching it. If you don't notch this place, believe me, your corset is going to be rumpled. I'm just giving you a tip and a trick. So I mistakenly cut through my line, my place that I have sewed down. So I just went ahead to like stitch that place back so that it doesn't open to the front of my corset. You can see the way I am just taking my time to show you everything that was done. I am not trying to rush this video because I want you to learn how to make this corset. It's not about knowing how to sew it. You need to master it, because if you master this particular corset now, you'll be able to achieve other corsets just with this knowledge alone. So anything you do not understand, just go back, rewatch, and make sure that you understand everything perfectly well for your own good. So now I am going to go ahead and sew my bone on my side allowance. This is where I was talking about that you need to add bone on your side allowance. This is going to help your corset to stand very well. If you have been sewing corsets without adding both to the side allowance, this is me telling you that you need to start doing that, because it's going to help give your corset shape. Do you understand? So I'm going to sew down my bone on both sides of the allowance. Sewing down this bone on this side curved area was not easy, but then I was patient. I took my time and I sewed it down. So I also expect you to do the same thing too. Considering how that place is and how it is shaped, it's not going to be so easy for you to like sew down the bone. So guys, if you haven't liked this video at this point in time, then I don't know why. I do not know why. And then after styling this on my clients, I'm going to post it on our IG page at Tekla Tutor. You can check out our page. Maybe you can follow us to see where we post some of these designs that we sew on YouTube. Do you understand? Where we post some of them. So you can see how I was struggling to sew down that bone. My thread was cutting. Like at some point I was should I say I was angry, but I just had to be patient and sew it second by second, bit by bit, one thread, one sewing to the other. And then at the end of the day, I was able to achieve what I want. I was able to sew down what I want. I'm just taking my time for you to see how this thing was done. And when I was done sewing this thing, my corset came out so nice just by sewing down the side bone alone. You will see the effect of that on your corset. Do you understand? Like you will see the effect on your corset. So this is when I was already done sewing the other side, and I also went ahead to sew it on the other side of the allowance, and this is when I was done with all of that. So you can see how our conical corset has already taken shape and how nice it is at this point in time. I just went ahead to take out the excess threads that was cutting and all of that. So this is why I like doing it on the lining. So even if you have anything funny, it will just be on my lining and my clothes will still come out fine and nice. So I also went ahead to trim out the excess allowance that I have on that place that I sewed down my bone on the sides of my corset. When I say the side, I mean the place that I joined the front and the back together. I hope you were able to get that. So I just went ahead to trim the excess allowance. And I'm going to go ahead and now show you how that looks. So guys, I hope you are enjoying this video, and after watching this video you can also check out some other videos that we have on our channel that might be beneficial to you, both beginner, intermediate and advanced level course. So you can see how structured our corset is. Like, this corset is very demure and it's coming out so nice. You can see how that cone shape is already taking shape. Some people go to the extent of adding a bone at that cone shape, but for me, I'll just leave it like that. So at this point, I've gone ahead to join my front fabric together, like my main fabric. I've joined it together just the way I joined the lining, and I placed it right side facing right side with the lining because I want to use it and turn the lining. You know that normally you use your lining to turn your main fabric, but this time I want to use my fabric to turn my lining. It's still the same process though, don't get confused. And I pinned down that place that I have V shape at the neck parts. So I'm going to sew down that V shape, and then I'm going to sew the allowance at the top. I'm going to join it at the top with 1/2 inch, join the side where I'm going to put my eyelets, and just practically turn it. You know the way you turn your clothes with lining, that is just how I want to turn it. But then I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can sew down this V shape part that is going to be the plunging neckline. I'm going to turn my lining and show you how to sew it down. So I'm going to use that allowance that I left. Remember, this is why I told you to leave allowance. So I'm going to use that allowance that I have left to now sew it down, and you can see the way I was properly placing it. You don't even need to be in a hurry when you are sewing this thing. You see the way I properly placed it, and I'm just going to sew down that V shape. Please, when you are making this corset, have patience and calm down and sew it so that you will not make any mistake, so that everything will come out looking nice. You can see the way I was turning it just to sew that down. So you can see how detailed this tutorial is, how understandable it is. So this is just me to try taking our online course, because you have a lot to benefit from it. Try taking our online course and just enter our WhatsApp through our bio on this YouTube, and I'll send you the available online courses that we have at the moment, and you can know the ones that you need to take. Do you understand? So after sewing that, you can see what I have. I already went ahead to sew down the sides, the top. So it's only the back up area and the down part that I have not turned at this point in time. Do you understand? And I went ahead to iron that down too, and I kept it aside. So now we are going to come back to our back up. For this back up, I did bust caging, just a very minimal bust caging, because even though the bust I'm working with is okay, but I just wanted to do a small bust caging, considering the fact that I am not using a push-up back up. I could have left it, but I just said, to be on the safest side, let me just do a very tiny bust caging. So I just went ahead to like mark out the part that I want to cage. You can see all the allowance that I was leaving, even though at the end I still had to like minimize the part that I took up to cage my bust, because the bone was coming out in the back up. I just caged it small. Also know that bust caging is also part of our online class, so if you want to learn how to cage your bust in a detailed way, then you can consider taking our online class though. So just that same thing that I did on the other side of my back up lining. Remember that this place I'm caging the bust is lining. This is not the main fabric. This is the lining part that I want to do the bust caging on. So I went ahead to mark that same thing that I did on the first part. I also went ahead to mark it on the second part, so that I will now use my regling bone to sew down on these lines that I have marked. And just know that this thing I'm doing is a very minimal way of caging your bust. You can see the way I'm taking my time to mark it. I want to make sure that even if you're a beginner, you will learn this corset. Even if you're not used to sewing corsets, you will learn it. So now I went ahead to do my bust caging. You can see just minimal bust caging that I did, and then I also sewed down my bra cup to the bra cup lining, and then I sewed at the tip of my bra cup, just the normal way you turn your bra cup, and then I have it like so. You can see how it looks. I hope you understood what I'm saying, guys. You can see how perfect this bra cup is. And then we are going to proceed to attaching that to our corset part. You can see how I'm putting it. So I'm just going to like top stitch it on our corset, like top stitch it on the corset. You just fold the lining and then the bra cup, and then you put it on the corset and top stitch. Do you see the way I'm doing it? You can still choose to join it the normal way you join your clothes, but that is not the best way. And I also have like 2 other ways that you can do this, because this particular way is very hard. Should I say hard? Like, it takes time to do. So I'll just take my time and sew that down. You can see the way I'm showing you how to do it. Fold your lining, make sure your corset is in between your lining and your bra cup, and then you can use pin to hold it down, or you can just sew it like that. So I'm going to go ahead to do that on both sides of the bra cup, and I'll come back to show you. So guys, I hope you are finding value in this video. I hope you were able to learn something. Please, if you did, leave us a comment in the comment section, and it serves as a source of encouragement for me. At least let me know that someone is learning something. I hope to see you in our next tutorial. Do you have a question? Just drop it in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video. Hope you liked the outcome of this corset, and I hope to see you in our online classes. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.